The courtroom felt heavier than it should have, not because of the cameras lining the back wall or the quiet hum of reporters whispering into their phones. It was heavy because everyone had already decided. Ethan Cole sat at the defense table, hands folded, jaw tight. The charge was simple: arson, insurance fraud, endangering lives. The fire had torn through his tech startup's warehouse 3 months earlier. 2 employees were injured. The building was reduced to blackened steel and ash. Investigators said the blaze started near Ethan's private office. They said he had recently increased the insurance policy. They said his company had been struggling. The prosecution said he was desperate. They said desperate men do reckless things. The security system in the warehouse had malfunctioned that night. Corrupted files, missing footage, a convenient blackout window between 11:42 p.m. and 12:17 a.m. During that time, Ethan's key card was used to access the building. He said he wasn't there, but the system said otherwise. Marla, Ethan's lawyer, adjusted her glasses and faced the jury. "You've heard a compelling story," she began calmly. "A neat one. A desperate man, a failing company, a midnight visit, and a fire. It fits. It's easy, but easy isn't always true. You've also heard about the security footage that vanished, about the key card log that placed Mr. Cole at the warehouse. What you haven't heard, because the prosecution chose not to emphasize it, is that this system was managed remotely." The jury remained still. They had seen the emails, the financial reports, the heated messages between Ethan and his business partner, Daniel Mercer. Daniel had testified earlier in the week. He had been convincing. He'd spoken of sleepless nights and tense board meetings, of Ethan's frustration, of arguments about selling the company before it collapsed. He said he'd rather burn it down than let investors take it. Daniel had testified, voice trembling just enough. The jury retired for deliberation. 2 hours passed, then 3. Inside the deliberation room, the conversation had been blunt. The key card log doesn't lie. His company was tanking. The partners seemed genuine. But there's no direct proof he started the fire. Circumstantial is still proof. By hour 4, a preliminary vote leaned heavily toward guilty. Back in the courtroom, Ethan stared at the floor. His mother sat in the front row, clutching a handkerchief. Marla's phone buzzed. She glanced down, frowning. A message from her junior associate. "You need to see this." Now, attached was a single image. Marla's heart skipped. She stood abruptly. "Your Honor, I request approach." The judge looked irritated. "Counsel, the jury is deliberating. I understand, but we have just received new evidence that directly impacts this case." The prosecutor shot up. "This is highly irregular." "It's highly relevant," Marla replied. The judge hesitated. "What kind of evidence?" "A photograph, time-stamped, authenticated. It was pulled from a cloud backup we didn't know existed." The judge conferred briefly with the clerk, then nodded. "Bring it forward." Marla connected her laptop to the courtroom display. The screen flickered to life. It showed a dimly lit office, a desk, a wall clock reading 11:58 p.m., and a man standing near a server rack. It wasn't Ethan. It was Daniel Mercer. The timestamp in the corner was clear: the night of the fire. "Enhance the image," the judge ordered. Marla zoomed in. Daniel's face was unmistakable. His hand rested on a panel labeled Security Access Control. Another timestamp appeared in the metadata overlay Marla displayed. 11:51 p.m. uploaded automatically to a private cloud account tied to the warehouse's internal maintenance camera, one that had never been connected to the main system. The camera Daniel had personally installed 2 months earlier, claiming it was for equipment monitoring. "It seems," Marla said evenly, "that while the main security system experienced a malfunction, this independent camera continued recording. Its data auto-synced to a cloud account registered under Mr. Mercer's name." Marla continued, "We subpoenaed all system logs from the primary network. What we didn't know, what we couldn't know without access to Mr. Mercer's private credentials, was that a secondary device existed." She clicked to the next image. Daniel crouched beside the server rack, holding a small device connected by cable. Then another image, Daniel looking directly toward the camera, unaware it was active. The timestamp read 12:03 a.m., 12 minutes before the fire alarm triggered. The judge called the jury back into the courtroom. They filed in, confused by the sudden summons. Marla addressed them directly. "Ladies and gentlemen, you were asked to believe a clean story. But stories can be written. Logs can be altered. Systems can be sabotaged." She gestured toward the screen. "This is Mr. Mercer in the warehouse that night, not Mr. Cole." The prosecutor objected weakly, but the judge overruled. The jury leaned forward, studying the image. One juror whispered, "That's him." Marla went on. "The keycard entry attributed to Mr. Cole was generated at 11:44 p.m. This image shows Mr. Mercer already inside at 11:51 p.m. And our forensic expert has confirmed the keycard data was modified at 12:09 a.m. from that same server rack." Daniel Mercer, sitting in the gallery as a spectator, stood abruptly. "This is ridiculous. It's manipulated." The judge's gavel struck sharply. "Sit down." Marla didn't look at him. The cloud metadata confirms the image's authenticity. IP logs trace the upload to the warehouse network, and the account used to store these images belongs to Mr. Mercer. The jury's expression shifted. Doubt cracked into something else. Realization. The judge declared a brief recess, while the new evidence was formally admitted. Outside, reporters scrambled. Headlines began to change in real time. Inside a holding room, Daniel argued with his attorney, voice rising in panic. Back in the courtroom, the jury resumed deliberations. This time, it took less than 30 minutes. When they returned, the four-person stood. On the charge of arson, we find the defendant. A pause. Not guilty. Ethan exhaled for what felt like the first time in weeks. On the charge of insurance fraud, not guilty. His mother broke down in tears. Across the room, officers approached Daniel. The judge spoke calmly. "Mr. Mercer, please remain seated." As they led him away, Daniel's eyes locked onto Ethan's. There was no anger there now, only shock. Ethan didn't smile. He didn't gloat. He simply watched. The single photograph spread across every major news site within hours. Analysts called it the turning point. Commentators debated how close the system had come to failing. But for Ethan, it wasn't about headlines. It was about the moment 12 strangers looked at that screen and saw what he had known all along. He had needed one thing, proof. And when that one photo appeared, the story everyone thought they understood shattered in an instant. Because sometimes the truth doesn't shout. Sometimes it waits quietly in the cloud until someone decides to look. Are you satisfied with how the story ended? If you were Ethan, what would you have done to Daniel? Do you think the jury made the right decision? Like and share this video. Drop your thoughts in the comment. Subscribe to this channel if you believe in justice.